Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima Asmal, and thank you for listening in. I am the MD of Ruth and Vessel's Attorneys, RW Attorneys, based in Brooklyn, Pretoria. And with me is my colleague, Mr. Nelson Tiani, also a director at the firm in the Labor Law Department. And today we want to chat to you about something we feel is very important, and that is the conducting of fair disciplinary processes in the workplace. Our disciplinary processes are entrenched in our Constitution and in our Labor Relations Act under the Code of Good Practice in Schedule 8. So, Nelson and I, in our experience in chairing of disciplinary hearings and dealing with labor matters in general at the CCMA in the Labor Court, want to share with you and create an awareness of how to conduct fair disciplinary processes in the workplace. So Nelson, tell me, what does our labor law processes entail in terms of fairness?
Well, Fatima, labor law is based on two tenets, that is the right to fair reasons, that is substantive fairness, and fair procedure, that is procedural fairness. Substantive fairness speaks to the reason why a particular employee in a workplace should be brought before disciplinary inquiry, while
Yes.
procedural fairness relates to the procedure leading to the way in which that particular employee may be disciplined at the workplace. Two important legs of labor law: fair reasons and fair procedure.
Correct. And what are the consequences of not following fair processes?
Well, the consequences may be dire for entities because it may lead to low staff morale. It may lead to reputational risks for the entity, amongst others. So it is important for entities, before they charge a specific employee with certain kinds of misconduct, to conduct an investigation. Not only an investigation that is formal in nature, even an informal investigation that can be conducted at HR level based on the nature of the misconduct in question, in order to test the veracity of the misconduct in question before bringing the charges against the employee that could have been alleged to breach a workplace rule.
Thank you. Yes, that is very good advice. Why is it important for CEOs to comply with fair processes in the workplace?
Well, it is very important for CEOs as leaders of the entities, as accounting authorities, to ensure that fair disciplinary processes are in place in the form of disciplinary code and procedures, so that the employees, one of the tenets of workplace law is that employees must be aware of workplace rules. So if one has got disciplinary codes and procedures in place that has been socialized amongst the entire workforce, then it becomes easier in the employer-employee relationship, and therefore it can mitigate all the risks that I've spoken about, amongst others, unwarranted disciplinary inquiries being brought against employees. It can take care of, amongst others, Fatima, whereby you'll find that an employee who has not been found guilty is morally not well because of unwarranted disciplinary inquiries. And in the long term, it will also save employers cost and time, in the form of that the employers won't find themselves at our statutory tribunals like the CCMA and the Labor Court.
And the labor courts, yes. And what message would you like to provide to the CEOs on getting this process correct?
Well, it is important for CEOs and HR personnel to ensure that there are fair disciplinary processes in place and disciplinary code in place, And not only to have the disciplinary code in place, they must at intervals review this disciplinary code and processes
Yes.
to make sure that, to ensure that it is in line with the latest development in labor relations space.
Thank you, Nelson. I think that's very good and practical advice. And thank you for listening in. We hope that the information we shared with you today would be useful. And please, CEOs, talking from experience, it's well worth spending some time in just looking at your processes, which will well benefit your firm or your company in the long run, on just taking time to ensure that fair processes are being implemented. Thank you for listening.